we've looked at defining what a budget is. What do you think the purpose of a budget is? Is there an end product?
I think safety almost, making sure that at the end of the month, the end of the year, especially if you've got responsibilities, that you're not left sort of fighting for money because you're not left having to move out of your house, or you're not left, if you've got children, you're not left leaving them hungry. It's about safety and security, I think.
Yeah, you need food to function. I had some friend, he was in London, but he basically said, I can't eat today because I don't get my student loan for another couple of days, so I've just got to, I can't eat. And I was shocked. But I'm thinking, he was smoking a cigarette at the time, so you have to kind of understand how I'm there going, okay, that's great. So yeah, just basically knowing that you can pay your rent, because obviously if you don't pay your rent, you're going to have a landlord on your back, and you can pay your bills so you don't have arguments with your flatmates, you can get food, you can, get around doing what you're here to do.
It's personal satisfaction and kind of personal well-being that you're kind of looking after, because obviously if you've usually when you're kind of low on your money, it's like towards the end of like a semester or of a year, and I find that that's when my exams and essays hand-ins tend to be as well. So the last thing you want to do is be kind of worrying about another issue like your rent or your landlord's shouting at you, or food. So
I'd say the purpose of a budget is financial security at the end of it all, is to ensure that the plans that you've made and intended sort of go to fruition, say. Like it says, to just make sure that everything that you've planned, the whole purpose of planning is to ensure you don't end up in a situation that you don't want to be in. So I suppose that's the purpose of a budget in general.
And though you're not thinking about it, also there's a level of growing kind of personal independence. I mean, in first year, same amount of money I get now in second year, I was like, it just isn't enough. And I would always find myself, asking my parents for £100 here, £100 there. It is enough to cover you. So
yeah,
it's all about learning that you can actually use what you've got to sustain yourself. You don't need other people supporting you as much.
Mine was about proving to myself, and then also in pretty much what you're saying, to my parents, that here I am, I'm at university, and I'm not just getting an education, I'm getting, because I purposefully chose, because I'm from London as well, not to go to a London university, because I wanted to live out, I wanted to be an adult, I wanted to grow up and say, look, I can manage my money, and I can eat like a proper human being,
pay the bills.
And pay the bills, and you do your very, very best, and I always felt really bad ever asking them for anything, so I thought, they've done so much for me, I'm going to do this for me and for them, and to grow up, because unfortunately, whether we want to or not, we've got to grow up.
Yeah, it's a life skill.
It's a life
pay
skill.
Rent, to manage your money.
definitely.
I think a lot of the budgeting is about, like you said, responsibility and proving that you can do it. I mean, over Easter I went home, met up with some high school friends who've been working since they were 16, and they're taking the mick out of me, saying, you get money off the government, you can go out every week. And it's sort of like, well, no, I'm living on my own, I know how to pay rent, I know how to pay bills.
I think as a student on student loans, the budget is more about survival than prosperity. So I think, like you were saying earlier about planning for the future, unless you're a student with a part-time job that's got a bit more spare income, I don't think it's going to be anything more than survival, because most people, as we've sort of ascertained, do get low and run out. I think beyond that, you can start to look at sort of saving money, but I can't say I know anybody as a student who's in receipt of loans that's going, I've got loads of money left at the end of this month. It never seems to work. So I think as a student, it's about survival, getting to the end of the academic year rather than long-term prosperity. It was good to think about those things.
When you're planning, or the purpose of the budget, is that what you asked? Yeah. When you're planning for something, even though it's not necessary now, it's still setting you up for the rest of your life. So even though it might not be, or it might not go to plan at the end of it all, you have accomplished it, like you're saying. You've shown your parents, I can actually do this, whereas before you couldn't.
And I mean, of course, what you spend your money on as well, like a lot of the time you forget that that's going towards your future kind of aspirations. So I do theatre, for example, so if I spend my money on kind of theatrical staff and get involved in that, or a course, or even just kind of being as part of a society and paying your fee kind of each month or whatever it is, that's going to contribute towards you kind of getting a better job or going into the field of work you want, rather than spending your money on rubbish and coming out.
Yeah.